Everybody to our 10th annual banquet and induction ceremony. My name is Herb Goins. At one time I was a former football coach and athletic director at Andrews, and have had the pleasure of serving on the Hall of Fame committee ever since it started about 10 years ago, 2014, our first class. Currently there are 97 individuals and 2 teams in the Andrews Hall of Fame. And tonight we will add 10 more individuals who by their outstanding achievements have earned their way into the Hall of Fame. At this time I'm going to call upon our chairman, Pete Hunter, for a few words. Pete was the visionary for the Hall of Fame. He's the one that got the committee together and got it started and has been actively involved in that. So Pete.
Good evening. I am Pete Hunter, chairman of the T. Wingate Andrews High School Athletic Hall of Fame Committee. And on behalf of the committee, I welcome you to the 10th Hall of Fame banquet. At this banquet, we induct, recognize those individuals who have brought their accomplishments, who through their accomplishments have brought pride and distinction to our school and community as either an athlete, coach, administrator, or contributor to the development and success of T. Wingate Andrews High School athletic program. In order to be considered for the Hall of Fame, unlike some rumors have gotten started that we just arbitrarily, this committee arbitrarily pick people who can join or belong in the Hall of Fame. That is not how it's done. You have to be nominated You have to be nominated, and then from the nominations, we'll take a look at those nominations and determine whether or not that person has the qualities or the characters that we are looking for, achievements that we are looking for, so that they could be recognized and be honored as a member of the Hall of Fame. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and supporting this event. As been mentioned, this is the 10th Hall of Fame banquet, and we have had tremendous support throughout. So we hope that you will enjoy yourself, enjoy the meal, enjoy the fellowship, and hopefully you will continue to support T. Wingate Andrews High School. Thank
Thank you, Pete. Daryl Baker, principal of Andrews, is running a little bit late. He had a meeting to attend, and so we'll get some comments from him after we have our dinner. But at this time, I'm going to call upon Mike McDowell, one of the members of our committee, for our invocation, and then I will give some dinner instructions.
Good evening and welcome. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we have gathered here tonight to celebrate and honor these men and women who have accomplished much in the arena of athletics and in life, both at Andrews High School and beyond. Tonight we celebrate together as part of the Red Raider family that for 56 years has seen great accomplishment and success within our school and in our community. Lord, we seek to honor these men and women that have excelled.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. My name is Daryl Baker. I am the proud principal at T. Wingate Andrews High School. I have served as principal for the last 2 years, at Andrews. Prior to that, I was the assistant principal there for 6 years. And Andrews is a place where we educate, equip, and empower students every single day. Just a little bit about currently what we offer at Andrews. We have 2 signature academies. One is a health science academy and one is an aviation academy. Some of you may not know that, but we introduced those 2 programs for the last 14 years. In fact, we have 2 females who are certified pilots and are not even able to drive yet. They don't have a driver's license. But we are doing excellent. Data just came out last year. Just want to highlight a couple things for us. We were in the top 35% of the state as it relates to growth for our schools. So Andrews is a place where academics is continuing to happen. Since being principal at Andrews High School, we've had over 30 combined individual and team state championships. We have the last 3 seasons, we won outdoor track, men's outdoor track in the 23 season, men indoor track in the indoor season of 23, and we just won the state last spring in outdoor track again for the men's track team. And our ladies finished 3rd in the state. We are expecting to go back next year and do it again. So I said all of that because Andrews is the home of champions, right? We're the home of champions. And as I look across the room, as I've listened to some of the stories throughout the evening, one thing I do know is Andrews is also family. And it does not matter how far we go out, how much time we spend away, Andrews is still home for us. And so we invite you, we welcome you back to the halls of Andrews. Feel free to stop by, come do a tour, come take a look at the school, come to our football games, follow us on social media, and visit our school website. We have a contact form for alumni, where we are constantly, on a quarterly basis, sharing highlights and information about what's happening at Andrews to keep our alumni abreast of the great things that are continuing to happen as they have done since the inception of Andrews High School. So again, thank you for allowing me to be here this evening. Congratulations to all of the inductees. And again, on behalf of the administration at TWA Andrews High School, welcome tonight. And again, thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee for your continued work. To our district athletic director, Lee Herbert, thank you for being here tonight. My athletic director, Justin Moyer, is here. So again, thank you and welcome, and we look forward to celebrating you all tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl. Some exciting things going on. Also, I'd like to introduce Daryl's wife. Kendra is here. Where's she? Yes. Kendra's here. There she is, back there. And Athletic Director Justin Moyer. Justin, if you would please stand up. I would like to introduce past Hall of Fame inductees that are here tonight. If you would stand and remain standing as I call your name. First of all, from our inaugural class of 2014, Melvin Fair. From 2015, John Kazaza, Sam Harrison Buffet, and representing Ruth Ellen McDowell, her son Mike McDowell. From 2016's class, Sue Shin. From 2017, Coach Wally Burke. And Coach Bobby Lawrence Bynum. From 2019, Pete Hunter. We did not have a banquet in 2020 due to COVID. We skipped that year. So 2021, Laura Green. Here. And I'd like to observe a moment of silence, if we could, for Eddie Robertson of the class of 2014, I'm sorry, and David Ingold Jr. of the class of 2016. If we could just take a moment. Thank you. Let me introduce our Hall of Fame committee that puts the time and the work into putting on the banquet, doing the selections, and planning everything. You met Pete Hunter, but Pete, if you would please stand, our chair. Laura Green, Darlene Mason, Mike McDowell, Eddie Levard, and our committee member emeritus, Sue Shin. She's up there as well. And I'm on the committee as well. Very cool. Thank you. Thank you very much. At the beginning, they're not here now, but Timmy Hawks was here from the media, Fox 8, did some interviews with several of you individuals that will go on Fox 8 TV. Several people handling banquet enhancements for tonight. Laura Green, who is also a photographer for the High Point Enterprise, is here doing the photography tonight. Greg and Delia Bates, as they have done for many years, are doing the videography, and these will be available also. And Jay Eames, Piedmont Audio Video, and Annette Bratskis are here providing our sound and video for tonight. In the back of your program, there is a page that shows the sponsors, the people that responded to our challenge grant for former inductees, people that purchased ads. Their ads may be in there. We thank you for that because you make everything go. It does take quite a bit of funds to operate a banquet, to have a Hall of Fame, to pay all the costs that are involved. We appreciate everybody's support in that. So thank you very, very much for that. At this time, I'm going to call on Mike McDowell, who will present the award recipient of the Ruth Ellen McDowell Scholarship.
Good evening again. Since its inception in 2014, the Andrews Athletic Hall of Fame was formed to help facilitate the honoring and recognition of deserving Red Raider athletes, coaches, and special supporters of Andrews Athletics that have left a profound impact on the school and our community. As part of the long-term vision of the Hall of Fame Committee, it was our hope and desire to someday establish a scholarship program to help support deserving athletes graduating from Andrews through an annual scholarship program. As the number of Hall of Fame inductees has grown since its first year in 2014, this year marks our 10th year of honoring inductees. Our former inductees have been challenged and have risen to the occasion of financially investing in the Hall of Fame program. Through the challenge and sponsorship programs, we were able to achieve our vision of establishing an ongoing scholarship program. This year marks the 7th time of being able to offer a scholarship to a deserving candidate from last year's graduates from Andrews. In 2023, we renamed the scholarship in honor of one of our former inductees, my mom, Ruth Ellen McDowell, who supported Andrews High School in its formative years. This year, we're pleased to reward Mr. Tristan Kirkwood with the Ruth Ellen McDowell Memorial Scholarship Award, a $500 scholarship towards his studies at Averett University in Danville, Virginia. Tristan, would you please stand? If you'll remain standing, Tristan is enrolled at Averett University and working towards a degree in physical education. While at Andrews, Tristan was on the A and AB honor roll. He was a member of the Sports Medicine Club, and Tristan graduated with a GPA of 3.7. Athletically, Tristan played football and wrestled. He was a 3-time all-conference performer in football and defensive MVP. In wrestling, he was a 2-time state qualifier, a 2-time conference champion, and was also a regional champion. Tristan is joined tonight by his mother and brother, Miss Kendra Ali and Mr. Brian Alexander. Would each of you please stand and be recognized as well? reward Tristan with the Ruth Ella McDowell Memorial Scholarship Award, given by the TWA and Andrews Athletic Hall of Fame for 2024. We wish you the very best and much success in your studies at Avery University. Would you please give another round of applause for Tristan Hurd?
Thank you, Mike, and congratulations, Tristan. Well, we're ready to begin what we all came here for, our induction ceremony of our 10 folks that are going into the Hall of Fame. Let me explain how this will work. As I introduce them, over on the screen, you will see slides that they've submitted, some of their athletic career, some of their family, and so forth, as they're being introduced. Then after that is completed, they will come to the stage, and Chairman Pete Hunter will put the medallion, the medal on you, and then we will bring you to the microphone for a few remarks. We ask you to keep things to 3 to 5 minutes, as we had said, for each of the inductees, but that is what we will do. And then tomorrow night at the football game, it starts at 7:30. And by the way, you go to a football game, see the undefeated Red Raiders. They're 3-0 right now. They will be playing North Rowan, and at halftime, the class will be introduced at halftime of the football game to the crowd. So we hope you can attend that as well. All right. Are we ready, Darlene? Okay. Our first inductee is William Bill Covington, Jr. Bill Covington was a three-sport athlete graduating from Andrews in 1988. He was all-conference at quarterback and also as a defensive back. The football team were conference champions and made the state playoffs both of these years. William also played varsity basketball all 4 years and was all-conference as both a junior and senior. In track, he participated in the long jump, the 200 and the 4x200 relay. He was voted most athletic by the student body during his senior year. He received a football scholarship to North Carolina A&T and played for 3 years until a knee injury ended his career. He began officiating many different athletic events in 1995 and then got into college basketball officiating. He joined the Atlantic Coast Conference staff officiating in 2007. Since that time, he's joined numerous other Division I conferences as an official. He's been selected to work several ACC men's tournament finals and numerous NCAA March Madness tournaments. He currently works with the education and training aspects of officials in the recruiting and training of new and experienced basketball officials. Bill lives here in High Point with his wife Elizabeth. They have 5 children and 6 grandchildren. Please welcome William Covington.
I like to hold court, but not with a microphone. So I'm getting ready to do something with no pictures. Just read it. First of all, I'd like to thank Coach Goins and the Hall of Fame committee. Truly honored for this induction. I was humbled when I received the phone call, just because I couldn't believe that I would be in a group of athletes and great people that walked the halls of Andrews High School. After I got out of high school, I just basically saw Andrews. It was a factory. It was a powerhouse of athletic talent, male, female, you name the sport, we did it. I'd like to thank my parents for the support, running me to the ball games and things of that nature, always being there. My family's always supported me in my athletics. Thank my wife, Elizabeth, who has supported me through the years while I've been on the road. She's an official herself, so I know it wasn't easy. She's manning my grandson, Kingsley, back there right now. Teachers, and I'm going to leave out some, but some of you will recognize these names. Ms. McCormick, Ms. Kimbrough, Ms. Tate, Ms. Shin, Mr. Bowles. They provided so much support during the daytime, keeping me out of trouble, keeping me, making sure I did my work, making sure my day was just good. Thank you. Coaches, these names, Coach Goins, I see you with a tie, and I don't remember that a lot. I always remember you have a headset on. Hey, you remember that? A headset with a red or white t-shirt and he's screaming our name. Coach Mizell, this man here, Coach Kazaza. Coach, very impactful. That's all I can say. I didn't know sometimes if it was going to be sideways. But you kept me straight. You taught me a lot. Coach Burt, you taught me a lot about literature, how to Greek mythology. Very impactful. I didn't mess with Coach Burt a lot. I thought all of you guys thought was wrong with all of you. Because you had to deal with us. But I thought something was wrong with Coach Burt because if you've ever been to Andrews and heard about the wrestling team, some of the guys, I couldn't mess with those guys. I couldn't mess with those guys. But very impactful. Coach Gill, I didn't mess with him either, but he was very impactful. I couldn't mess with him because he was lifting more weight than I was. Adrian, you probably remember, there were times where he would get down in practice and run a full plate with no equipment on, and get angry when you wouldn't run it. But these weren't coaches that were impactful. They were people that were impactful that happened to be coaches. They taught me so much. They were like my second family. These teachers and these coaches, I couldn't let them down. Like I said, I was more afraid of them sometimes than my own parents. But every day I know that Kazaza, Burt, Goins, Gill, they told me that talent was not going to just get me there. You had to work hard. I spent some years in education. I spent about 9 years in education. Partly because I wanted to be impactful like they were. I was over in Thomasville High School. But life changed, and I was offered an opportunity to officiate basketball at the highest level. I don't really talk about a lot of things like what I've done, but I've been fortunate enough to work 7+ NCAA tournaments, Sweet 16s, Elite 8s. As Coach said, 3 finals, NIT finals, things of that nature. I've been asked often, is officiating competitive? Yes, it is. It is very, very, very competitive. But I learned to compete in that building on McGuinn Street from all you guys. So I thank you. Again, I thank you to the coaches, to the committee. Proud to have graduated from TWA Andrews High School. Inductees, congratulations to you all. Thank you.
Yeah, I got those glasses on. I can take them off now. Okay, good. Yeah. I wonder if you can see. Congratulations, William. Our next inductee is Keith Hunley. Keith was a well-rounded three-sport athlete at Andrews, graduating in 1995. He was a kicker on the football team and played soccer all 4 years, making all-conference team 3 years and serving as a team captain as a senior. It was in tennis that Keith excelled. He played tennis all 4 years at Andrews. He moved from the number 3 player on the team as a sophomore to become the number 1 player his last 2 years. He made all conference for 3 years and was the conference player of the year each of his final 2 years. He was undefeated in single play in dual matches for his career and had an overall record at Andrews in singles and doubles of 150 wins against only 4 losses. Keith was doubles state regional champion as a junior and a doubles state finalist. In his senior year, Keith was the singles regional champion and singles state runner-up. He was the team most valuable player both years and won the T. Wing and Andrews Award as the most outstanding student athlete in the school. He went on scholarship to play tennis at UNC Wilmington and graduated with a degree in business management and management information solutions. Keith lives in Raleigh. His wife Kim is here, as well as his 2 children, Hudson and Harrison. So let's welcome Keith Hundley into the Andrews Athletic Hall of Fame.
Hey guys. It's definitely a blessing to have gone to Andrews, and you realize that the older you get, to be able to have grown up around the teachers and the coaches there. Congratulations to all the inductees and their families, and definitely thanks for the hard work of the committee. My career started at Andrews in the summer of my freshman year when I was at a buddy's house playing soccer in the front yard. Then Coach Goins came over. He was going to take my friend John Rosner to a kicking camp the next day, and he said, "Do you play soccer?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "You now kick on the football team. I'll pick you up tomorrow, and we're going to go to Grimsley for a kicking camp." And I called my mom and said, "Apparently I'm kicking football now and playing soccer." And I remember being amazed at how they basically had 6 adults, maybe 6 to 10 coaches managing 120 kids, because all the coaches at JV, all of them did varsity, and it was the only sport I had seen where they had films and they could keep the kids entertained with films, and just how complicated a sport and how intense the coaches were, just to kind of set it off. I also played soccer with Coach Dalton. I want to thank him. He has taught me that effort and attitude is what you can control. He also taught everybody on the team that you could still run after puking all summer, and that you just had to count until it went away. And so I will say he'd be happy to know I played competitive soccer until just a few years ago. The biggest impact I had was Coach Kazaza, everybody knows, who was a true coach and a mentor. And I began only playing tennis to stay in shape for soccer, because back then that's what you did. They said, "Oh, play this sport, you'll stay in shape." And I thought, oh, this will be, I thought Coach Dalton was intense. And I was like, I'll just go play tennis and that'll be easy practices. No, not with Coach Kazaza. He always met us somewhere to play. He was the only coach I had that practiced with us every day. He worked out with us in the weight room. And he was just always intense. He's obviously an alpha male. He was always mentoring and always motivating us. I could say, "Hey coach, I gotta play that guy next week, he's incredible." And he would immediately tell me, "Did you train harder than him?" And I would say, "Yeah." He said, "Well, what are you worried about then?" And I would say, "Coach, everybody said the only reason I win is because I'm lucky. I hate when they say that. What should I do?" And he said, "Tell them thank you." And I said, "That's it." I said, "That's it? Just say thank you?" He said, "No, then beat the shoes off next time I play." And you know, there was just so many lessons I remember from the coaches. You know, Coach Cazazza would say, you would be nervous doing a match, and he would come up to you at the fence. You were allowed to talk to the coach during the breaks, and he would say, it's a bad feeling that you're nervous. And he's like, you're not prepared. That's all it is. Being nervous is a lack of, you know, preparation. He would always tell me that I should be sucking wind after every drill, that I should be exhausted after every practice. Back then, Notre Dame was like the elite, and he would tell me as I got really good, he would tell me that you want to be the Notre Dame on everybody's list. You want to be the center of their, you know, at their conversation at their dinner table. You want to be circled when they play you, and you got to train like that. And he would tell us stories about how he would thrive under pressure when he was quarterback at ECU, and he would just tell, you know, great stories. One of the funniest things that ever happened with Coach Cazazza was we were in Charlotte for regionals, or for states, and he had just given us a pep talk. I think we were in the jacuzzi. He was telling us to be serious about the match tomorrow. And then he came back in 5 minutes later and said, all 4 of my hubcaps just got stolen. Right outside the hotel at a very nice place. And he had a nice car, some nice like anti-lock hubcaps as well. So there's definitely I cherish the lifelong bond you have with the coaches when you're in those high pressure situations together, and I just can't thank him enough. I want to thank my mom and my sister for hardly ever missing a game, and my brother for playing sports with me all the time. He was 3 years older. I met all his friends. You know, they beat up on us, and then it was a lot easier to play people our ages. I know my dad would be proud looking down. I currently coach my 9-year-old Harrison over there in soccer and flag football, and he's playing some tennis as well. And then my 12-year-old son Hudson is playing tackle football, and I got to help coach him in flag football, and I lost count of how many championships he's won in flag football. And I love being able to use the same intensity and everything I've learned from our coaches and kind of pass on that culture to them. My wife had no idea what Andrews would do to somebody who's into sports until my kids started playing sports, and she saw how intense I would get at the games and coaching. And I would just say to grow up around these coaches, as well as the teachers, was just a very big blessing. Every year you look back and say, I am so glad I went to that school. I am so glad I was around those adults, because we didn't have internet. So you only got your mentoring through other adults. So it was a great culture there. And I'm just really proud to say that I went to Andrews. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Keith. Our next inductee, Latasha McKeever Jacobs. Latasha was a three-sport athlete at Andrews, graduating in 2001. She joins cousins Sam McKeever and Greg Jeffries in the TWA Hall of Fame. She played volleyball, basketball, and ran track all 4 of her years at Andrews. She was a point guard in varsity basketball for 3 years, all-conference and team MVP both her junior and senior years. The track team won the conference championship for 3 years, and Latasha was all-conference each of those years. She was most outstanding performer of the conference track meet as a sophomore. Latasha was on the state 3A championship 4x200 meter relay team her junior year, and ended her track career as a senior, being a member of the state 3A championship 4x100 and 4x200 relay teams, as Andrews won the 2001 3A state women's track championship. After graduating from Andrews, Latasha went to work for the city of High Point in the Parks and Recreation Department. While working, she attended High Point University, graduating in 2010 with a degree in recreation management. She lives in Thomasville. Her husband James is here, son Mecky, 2 stepdaughters, Chastity and Mackenzie, and 2 sisters. Please welcome Latasha McKeever Jacobs.
Well, hello everyone. So I can say I'm very proud to be an inductee of this year. I thank Coach Goins and all of the Hall of Fame committee. I thank my family, who is like the biggest fans of my life. My mom, my dad, my sisters, my wonderful husband, my awesome son, and my in-laws and the rest of my family, my uncles, my aunts, and my cousins. Being at TWA Andrews was awesome. We were like one big family. You don't mess with one and not mess with nobody else. So if you mess with one, you mess with all of us. So that's how I worked in all the sports. But just growing up at Andrews and having Mr. Harrison as our principal, he was the best principal ever. And his nickname was J-Rock. Whenever you see J-Rock, you better make sure you're in class, you better make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, because no telling where he'll be. You can walk outside and he's up on top of the roof saying, hey, McKeever, you better get to class. And so I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going. But all in all, though, the coaches and all the teachers were great at Andrews. Coach Gazaza, as everybody has mentioned, he's always the funny coach. So he will always say something to you to lift you up throughout your day. Coach Mizell, Coach Dalton. We also had Coach Morris, who was a blessing to me. Even though we lost him, but he is dearly loved, and he always supported us in whatever we did and always encouraged us to do everything. As well as Coach Yoakley, he always was there too in track. And then we have Miss Sheehan. I love Miss Sheehan. Lord Miss Sheehan. Let me tell y'all, Miss Sheehan, for Miss Sheehan to be the size she is a strong woman. Let me tell you, during basketball practice, oh my God, she'll be sitting there telling us, you got to get stronger. You got to go like this, and then she'll come and she'll post us up, and like we'll just be thrown our way back. We're like, where's all this power coming from this small woman? So she was awesome. She is just awesome all the way around. And then with track was just overwhelming, just good, and we always looked out for each other in track. I remember a track meet one year when we was running at Western Gifford, and that year was my junior year, and all of a sudden I didn't know how many people actually knew about me and actually was kind of scared of me. So I remember getting ready to run the 200-meter dash. It was just the prelims, and I ran the 200-meter dash, the prelims. I crossed the line, and all I remember is coming up the straightaway, and I just seen flashes just, and I was like, ooh, I feel so famous right now. This is so nice. And when I crossed the line, I actually ran a 25 flat, and I was like, wow, that's good. So when it got time for the finals, I seen there was other two runners one was from Grimsley and one was from Western Gifford. And they both were fast too, very fast young ladies. And they kept looking at me, and I'm like, okay, why they keep looking? Like, what is going on? So when the gun shot, we all took off running. But I did get first place, I got third. So it was okay, because it's like when we all crossed the line, those two girls, they turned around, high-fiving each other like, yeah, and they seemed like, yeah, we told y'all, y'all could beat her, she wasn't all that. And I was like, oh, so that's why y'all was looking at me like that, because you were scared, but it's okay. So, but all in all, everybody just enjoyed one another. Andrews is an awesome school, awesome school. And I would tell anybody, if you want to feel like family, go to Andrews. It doesn't matter your race, where you're from, your background, your religion. We all work together as a big group family. So, but at the same time, I do have big fans that were supporting me during the school year. He would be at every event. It did not matter where we was going, he was there. And if Ashley was able to get checked out of school, he was checking her out so she could be there too, supporting us. So I appreciate them being there, and I just love them being there all the time. And for those of you who know my family, if you was ever at a track meet, and if you ever seen a woman running up the sideline, cheering me on, that was my mama. She was running track too with us. So yes, so she did it with me, my middle sister Ashley, and my baby sister. So I can only imagine what she might do if my son runs track. So But otherwise than that, that's all I have to say. I just thank everybody. I thank for being nominated. This is an awesome thing. And I've been saying all day, I'm not gonna cry. And I just love everybody. And thank you, committee. I love you all. And thank you, my family. I love you all for always being there for me and support me no matter what. Thank you. Y'all have a good evening.
Congratulations, Natasha. Our next inductee is Barbara Kinney. A native of Woodbury, Connecticut, Barbara picked up tennis at a young age, being coached by her father, who was the city champion. Barbara headed south to High Point College, where she played field hockey, basketball, and tennis. This was prior to Title IX, so games and matches were not recognized as official sports, as were the men's teams. After graduation, Barbara saw the opportunity to start a league for girls in High Point. So she and 5 other women formed the Girls Athletic Association at Oakview, which is still going strong. Barbara coached basketball and softball in the Girls Athletic Association for 5 years as the only female coach, but she won the championships in both sports every year that she coached. She taught tennis in High Point for 7 years and was a city champion in singles for 2 and doubles champion for 4 consecutive years. Barbara coached women's tennis at Andrews from 1979 to 1992, and was selected Conference Coach of the Year 6 times. Her 1985 team was the state 3A, 4A runners-up, and the 1986 undefeated team were state 3A champions. Barbara completed the last 16 years of her teaching and coaching career at Ferndale Middle School, where her tennis teams won 14 conference championships. Barbara lives in Wilmington, North Carolina, and here tonight with her are son Brett and daughter Casey, who were excellent athletes at Andrews as well, and she has 4 grandchildren. Please welcome Barbara Kinney into the Andrews Athletic.
Well, oh my gosh, this is great. I cannot thank Andrews enough for this honor. Hell, once I get to my golden years, I don't expect to have an honor like this. But when I heard about it, I was shocked and I was thrilled. Andrews High School meant so much to me. With both of my children graduating from Andrews, we spent a lot of time at sporting events. My son Brett played 3 sports at Andrews and went on to UNC Wilmington and played on the golf team. My daughter Casey played tennis for 4 years at Andrews, played soccer 1 year, and earned a tennis scholarship to UNC Wilmington to join her doubles partner, or her high school doubles partner, Karen John. I coached tennis, as Coach Goins said, from 1979 to 1992. I had played college basketball with Brenda Jo Thomas, and she called me one day and said, "Would you like to coach the tennis team at Andrews?" I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." I was like, "I think I'm gonna like that, that's gonna be great." And so I did, and it was one of the best things that I ever did. For the first year or so, we didn't win a whole lot of matches. After 3 or 4 years, we started winning more than we would lose. Then we won the conference championship every year. Then we won sectionals. Then we won regionals. Then in 1985, we were runners-up, and in 1986, we won the whole thing as state champion with an undefeated season that year. And it was good. My dad, Bud Casey, retired to High Point after in about 1984, and he helped me with my tennis team. And he was a fantastic tennis player in his own right, but he did the little things. He made a notebook of our opponents, had their names down, their weaknesses and their strengths. So the next time we played that team, my dad had the notebook and he would take it out to the player who was playing that person and say, hit to their backhand, they had a very weak backhand, or try not to, or go cross court, they can't come up. So he helped me so much. And one thing that makes this even more special to me, that my dad was inducted to his College Sports Hall of Fame. So this made that even more special. One thing, as Coach Goins had said, when I first started in High Point, there was nothing for girls. No leagues, no teams, no nothing. So I got together with some people in Oakview, and we decided it was time to start something. They had daughters, I had a daughter, and so we started the Girls Athletic Association. We went to Oakview Recreation Center and started it. And that first year, we had softball, and then we had basketball. And a story about the first time, they said, if you get the first pick a girl named Stephanie Rickard, who happens to be here tonight, and they said, yeah, pick Stephanie Rickard. So out of the line comes this little bitty 8-year-old girl with blonde hair. I thought, okay, somebody's playing a joke on me. Who in the world is this girl? And then they said, you can have one more player. So Brett told me, he said, a girl in my class named Elizabeth McMullen. She's really a good athlete. So I called her on the phone. She said, I'm not playing with girls, but we finally got her to play. So when Stephanie was 8 and Abby was 9, I started coaching them. I coached them continually until they were 18, and they graduated from Andrews. They were on my tennis team for 4 years. They never played tennis, and I said, you're going to play because you're athletes. You're going to play for me. Stephanie and Abby played pickleball all the time, so a little bit of that stayed. I was brought up in a family of very active people, my father being the fantastic athlete. So we always had athletics as a very important thing. So when I had my family, I married a man, my late husband, Stan Kinney, who was a scratch handicap golfer and went to High Point College on a golf scholarship. So we brought our children up to be active and to be athletes. And that means so much. And now I have 4 grandchildren. 2 of them are here tonight, and all 4 of them live in Wilmington, and Casey lives in Wilmington. I live there, so I get to see my grandchildren all the time. My 2 granddaughters played 3 sports in high school, and they were both voted the most athletic in their senior year. My grandsons, Peyton and Owen, are fantastic surfers. My 20-year-old grandson, Owen, is a professional surfer and travels the world. So all 4 of my 2 children and my 4 grandchildren they're doing great. That we were saying about the tennis doubles championship that I won for 4 years, well, I certainly didn't do it by myself. Kathy Corpany is here tonight, and she was my doubles partner. We never lost. With her net play, we won the city championship every year, and it was fantastic. One year we met Casey in one of the rounds. Another year we met Karen John. Both of my players we met in the tennis tournament and beat them. But I want to thank the people that came out to support me tonight. People traveled. One surprise, I didn't know Stephanie was coming tonight, and all of a sudden she walked in the door. So my player from 8 to 18 came to support me tonight. Abby came. I want to thank both of my children, Brett and Casey. Brett, his wife Tracy, my brother-in-law Jimmy Kinney, his wife Barbara, Kathy and Glenn Corpany, Stephanie and Abby. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. But it was a fantastic thing. But most of all, I want to thank Andrews High School for the biggest honor I've had in a long time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations, Barbara. Our next inductee is Adrian Lax. Adrian was an outstanding three-sport star at Andrews, graduating in 1989. He played varsity football 3 years and was an all-conference linebacker both his junior and senior years. Andrews was conference champion and advanced each of these 3 years to the state 3A playoffs. Adrian wrestled all 4 years at Andrews, and as an individual was a regional champion in heavyweight division as both a junior and senior, and placed third in the 3A state championships both years. Andrews won 3 consecutive 3A state wrestling championships, 1987, 88, and 89, while Adrian was a member of the team. In track, he was conference champion in the 200 meters as both a junior and a senior. He was a member of the 3A state champion 4x100 and 4x200 meter relay teams as a senior, and Andrews won the state 3A track championship both his junior and senior years. Adrian went on to play football at Winston-Salem State, starting at linebackers. The Rams won the CIAA championship in 1990, Adrian's sophomore year. He lives in High Point with his wife Linnell and son Namir. Please welcome Adrian Lax.
Wow. Who's that guy right there? You know, a long time ago, my mom taught me that humility and compassion for other people will take you a long way in life. I just never thought it would take me to the Hall of Fame, Mom. We're Hall of Famers now. My time at Andrews was, I can say, the best time of my life. The best 4 years as a young man growing up, playing football, surrounded by all these great coaches. Coach Burke, hey man, you did so much for me that you don't even know. You don't even know it. Playing football was something I always wanted to do, but playing for Andrews was the ultimate. There was no feeling like running out on that field with that A on the side of your helmet, listening to the band play, the crowd going crazy. There was no better feeling. And after the game was over, walking up to your coach and shaking your hand after the game, we had handled our business. They knew we were there, they knew we were handling our business, and that was a great feeling for me. Wrestling was something totally different. I got introduced to wrestling as a 6th grader by Coach Harry Leak at Griffin. Then I met this guy named Bobby Lloyd when I was about in the 9th grade. Bob, I didn't like you at first, man, I'm trying to tell you now. I just didn't like you, bro. Bob would come to our house on Saturday mornings, about 9 o'clock in the morning, unannounced, just knocking on the door, and I'm like, Mom, who's at the door at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday? It's Bob. We're going to practice. In the off season, it's not even wrestling season. We're going to practice. Bob would always say that these days are the days that make state champions. And you were right. You were right. There's nothing like walking out on that mat by yourself. Even though you're a part of a team, I got my whole team behind me. But when I walk out on that mat, I'm walking out there by myself as an individual. That taught me so much. As a man, as the man I am right now, wrestling had a whole lot to do with that. Track, man. Track was a release for me. From playing football in the fall to wrestling all through the winter, track was just like, okay, I felt like a 5-year-old kid. All I gotta do now is just go out here and do the run. It's simple. I remember my first track meet, Coach Gill, may he rest in peace, had me throwing a shot put and the discus. I almost threw my shoulder out. I went to Coach Gill after the track meet and I was like, Coach, there's got to be something else for me to do. I just cannot throw this shot put and this discus. This is not me. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna put you in the 100-meter dash. I was like, 100? I was like, hold on now. I don't know about that, Coach. I never felt like I was a fast person, but Coach seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. So he put me out there on the track. I ran the 100. In the next practice, he handed me a baton. So now you're on the 4x1 and the 4x2 relays. So now, this same guy that just wrestled heavyweight for Coach Burke was now a sprinter. So you could just see the looks on people's faces when we would get off the bus and they would see that I was part of the relay team. They just knew they was gonna smash us. They just knew it. It was automatic. They got this big guy out here, he can't run, until the gun went off. And then Tim Minor would come around that corner, hand me that baton, and the race was over. It was over after that. So I enjoyed all of that. I enjoyed getting off the bus and listening to all the whispers as you're walking through the Coliseum or walking to the track. When we used to go to Bull Durham tournaments, and all the other teams would be like, that's Andrews, that's Andrews, that's Andrews. Because they already know. We come to dominate, period. We're going to dominate, period. That's just how we were taught. That's the culture at Andrews. It's about winning. We would lose as a team, and that's fine. We would take those lumps. But you knew that you were in a game when you played Andrews. And that never stopped for us. It was an automatic thing. We were expected to win. Other teams expected us to win. So how could we not? We could not let them down. So we were coming to put it on you. We were not going to be brash or anything like that. We were very humble in our winning, but you knew that we were coming to dominate. And it was the greatest feeling that I ever had. I dream and hope and pray that my 6-year-old son right now gets to walk the halls of Andrews High School. That he gets to graduate from Andrews, because it was so special to me and still is. Once a Raider, always a Raider. Never dies. And I appreciate everybody that came out tonight. I appreciate the committee, Coach Goins. Hey man, we had some good times. We had some real good times. My mom, my aunt is here, my wife. I thank all of y'all for everything that you've done, all the encouragement that you gave me, pushing me when I didn't want to go, Bob coming to get me when I didn't want to go. But you had already worked it out with him, so he knew what time to come. Hey, I wouldn't trade none of my time at Andrews for anything in the world. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody coming out, and I thank you, I thank you, I thank you.
Thank you, Adrian, and congratulations. Our next inductee is Todd McIntosh. Todd was also a 3-sport athlete, graduating in 1985. During the fall sports season, Todd was a kicker for the football team, as well as an outstanding soccer player. He once kicked a 43-yard field goal to win a football game at Andrews, while making all-conference in soccer for 3 years. Todd was most valuable player as a junior on the soccer team and served as a team captain as a senior. It was in wrestling, however, that Todd excelled. He was undefeated in all of his dual meet matches and compiled a 3-year record of 86 wins against only 6 losses. He was a 2-time conference, sectional, and regional champion in his weight class. He was the state champion in his weight class as both a junior and a senior, completing his senior year with an undefeated 31-0 record and being named the 1985 North Carolina High School Wrestler of the Year and a Mat News All-American. He was extremely successful wrestling outside high school also. He was a 3-time North Carolina High School State Freestyle Champion and twice the North Carolina High School State Greco-Roman Champion. Todd received a wrestling scholarship to North Carolina State University, but injuries prematurely ended his career. He went on to graduate from North Carolina State, earning both a bachelor and master's degree. Todd lives in Hall River. His son is here. He graduated from V&I and played soccer, is now in the service. Please welcome Todd McIntosh to the Andrews.
Wow. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the Hall of Fame Induction Committee for bestowing this great honor on me. Andrews was a very special place for me, and I know we've all heard the proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, Andrews was a big part of my village. I'd first like to thank my parents who gave me the work ethic to know that to accomplish anything that you have to put the work in. I thank my coaches for turning that work ethic into a skill. I thank my coaches for turning that work ethic into the mental toughness that I would need to accomplish some of the things that I've accomplished in my life far beyond sports. I was a decent wrestler. I was a decent soccer player. But the one thing that I am absolutely sure of is that I am the toughest kicker that has ever been at Andrews. But all that being said, when I got to college, I started as a freshman. And I got injured and injured and injured. And then I realized that I didn't love my sport. I loved the men that put all the time, energy, and effort into me becoming what I had become. Coach Burke and Bobby put so much time and energy into making me what I became that I will never be able to thank them enough. When I was in the 9th grade, we weren't at Andrews. 9th graders weren't at Andrews at that time. And the way that I got introduced to Coach Burke was, we were so bad in middle school, in junior high, that he would send his seniors over to the middle school to help coach us. And I met two of my biggest idols, Stacy and Tracy Davis. Oh. And I saw them and I was just in awe. And a guy came over with them that I didn't know named Todd County. And I didn't even know his name at the time. And we started wrestling, started getting kind of intense. And he had taken me down 2 or 3 times, and then I finally won a takedown. And he went ballistic. Get off me. And he left the room, and I said, I asked them, I said, why was he so upset? He won most of the takedowns. And they said, because he was mad that a junior high school kid just took down last year's state champion. So the next day, when they came over, they said, you need to come over here with us. And they took me to the high school. And those men invested so much time and energy and effort into me that when I stepped out on the mat, I felt like I owed them something. I owed them a win. I owed them every fiber of my being to give them back some of what they had put into me. Coach Burke used to give me a ride, before I had my driver's license, Coach Burke used to give me a ride home every night. And he said, you could really do something in this sport, but in every match there's going to be a time where there's going to be, see the word he used, where there's going to be a flurry, and you got to win that battle. And I said, I can battle when I want to. And he said, wrestling, like life, doesn't always let you dictate when you're going to battle. So you got to be ready every time, not just when you feel like it. And that stuck with me through everything that I've accomplished in my life throughout then, far greater than state championships or being an All-American or playing soccer or coaching my son, who was a far better athlete than me. I remember Bob, my senior year in high school, well, actually, I'd already graduated, And I was, for a lot of you know this, I was a lifeguard at Cedar Lake Pool, which gave me the chance to train in the summer. And just Bob would come after I finished work and would train with me every day to get me ready for the Southeastern Regionals. And when we got in his car, drove to Tennessee to wrestle in the Southeastern Regionals, just the two of us. And I just knew I couldn't lose. And the funniest part of that trip was the night before the finals, Bob said, you know, you need to relax a little bit. And we went and hung out way too late. And then the next day at the finals, the guy that I had in the finals, his dad came up and he said, this is gonna be a good match. And Bob said, no, it ain't gonna be a good match. And about a minute and a half later, the match was over. But those are the things that I carried with me the rest of my life that helped me open a business right out of college, that helped me get a master's degree, that helped me instill those values in my son. And as Coach Goins said, he just graduated in May from VMI. He is now, he's back shaking his head. He is now a newly appointed second lieutenant in the United States Air Force. And a soon-to-be pilot. So I have been blessed. And as every person who has stood up here before me, and I'm sure the people who will stand here after me will tell you, that culture was instilled in us at this place called TWA Andrews. And those people put so much time, energy, and effort into us that they have produced so many great citizens of this nation. And all I can do is say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd, and congratulations. Our next inductee is Tim Miter. Tim was a two-sport athlete, graduating from Andrews in 1990. He played fullback, tailback, and cornerback on 3 straight conference championship and playoff qualifying football teams. The 1988 team was ranked in the preseason as the number 23 high school football team in the nation by USA Today. Tim was a member of Andrews' first 3 state 3A championship track teams. He was a member of the 4x100 relay teams that won the state 3A championship in both 1989 and 1990. Tim ran the leadoff leg of the relays and was a team captain as a senior. Tim was recruited to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where he was a sprinter on the track team. He graduated with a political science degree in 1994 and later earned a master's degree in public affairs from UNC Greensboro. Tim currently serves as a vice chancellor for strategic planning at North Carolina A&T State University. He lives in Chapel Hill. He has 2 sons in high school, Evan and Noah, who are here tonight, who also happen to play football and run track. Please welcome Tim Miter into the Andrews Chapel.
I want to also congratulate the Hall of Famer inductees tonight. What a privilege and what an honor. In fact, this is an honor of a lifetime for me to be inducted into this family of Hall of Famers at the greatest high school in the world, Thomas Wingate Andrews High. To Coach Goins and to Judge Hunter and other committee members, thank you for your consideration and this great honor. To my teammate and friend who couldn't be here tonight, Mike Rowan, thank you for the nomination. And of course, all praise and honor to the Most High God, my Father, my Shepherd, and Lord. I would also like to extend my congratulations again to this wonderful 2024 class. I see my coach, Coach Kazaza, my secondary coach, and Coach Burke, my running back coach, and I want to thank you too for all that you poured into us. I am blessed beyond compare. I'm grateful to be here with my parents and my family. My mom and dad, William and Faye Minor, have been both the sails to help me navigate my dreams and successes, and also my life's anchors to keep me safe and secure during the bad storms and life's challenges. I love you more than I can say. My sons, Evan and Noah, who are my joy and blessing from God, my reason, my inspiration, and our hope for tomorrow. You are the best thing that has ever happened to me, and I am so proud to be your dad. To Alicia, thank you for hope for a better tomorrow. TWA Andrews High has given me far more than I've given her. My alma mater gave me wonderful teachers who nourished and supported dreams, friends who became brothers and sisters. It gave me team sports and coaches who poured into us and gave us life lessons about being a true team, and those are the lessons that I carry with me today and instill into my own teams with whom I work. I was fortunate to be both a scholar and athlete at Andrews, and I was supported as both. No one reaches heights of success by themselves. In this case, this Hall of Fame class stands on the shoulders of people who were waymakers. The great athletes who came before us set the standard. There would be no shortcuts for success, only expectation for excellence. So practicing with teammates like Brent David and Adrian Lax, Greg Jeffries and Sean McCullough, Darius Brewington, Kenny Shaw, Dwayne Hill, Craig Holloway, and my friend and teammate who passed way too soon, Eddie Robertson, made me a better athlete, teammate, and leader. Iron sharpens iron. We earned wonderful success, conference championships in football, and the first 3 state championship teams in track and field during my time at Andrews. It was a golden era of winning in every sport and a great time to be a student at the school. But oftentimes, our road to success isn't straight. Life can seem unfair, adversity is part of life, and often our greatest obstacle presents the most opportunity. These opportunities provide a pathway of discovery for newfound strength and personal development. If 1988-89 sports year was a year of affirmation for the Red Raiders, football was the number 23 preseason ranked team in the country. We had just won our 2nd state championship in track and my first as the lead leg of the 4x1 relay team with my brother Adrian as the 2nd leg. And as he mentioned, Adrian said it right. By the time he got the stick, it was over. Then 1989-90 had to be even better, right? I mean, only that was supposed to be the storybook ending for my senior year of high school, only it didn't happen that way. I was a starter at running back in a new offense. For my first 3 years, coach, we ran the I formation, and all of a sudden, because we were smaller, but a little bit faster backfield, Coach Goins tried putting us in the best situation to play to his personnel with mostly new starters from the previous year. And so we ran a split back formation to use our speed to overcome our lack of size on the field. It was new, and it took us a little bit while to adjust, and well, honestly for me, I didn't adjust as well. And by the 5th game of the season, I went from starting to splitting time at fullback. But in that 5th game, when we played Asheboro, I decided that I had to step up and perform, and I did. On one play, I had an amazing one. Coach Burke, it was a 41 trap, and we broke it for 20-yard gain before I was tackled. Only this time the tackle was helmet to knee, and I limped off the field and tried to go back in, but my knee popped as I was running, and I was done. just like that. The next week, I had arthroscopic surgery on my knee, and my season was all but done. Only 5 games in. I felt let down. I felt as though I let our team down. Fall of '89, I had only one scholarship inquiry, and that was from a school out in Cullowhee. I was crushed. But there was one coach who wouldn't let me stay down, not even for a second. Coach Craig Gill, or as I called him, my second dad. Coach Gill believed in me in some days more than I believed in myself. He didn't let me hang my head. He stayed after practice with me and made me work out in rehab. He pushed me so hard, but not for football because that dream wasn't going to work out for me, but for the track season that was about to start, where I had great potential. Coach Gill called coaches around the state and out of state and told them to look at my times, my grades, and SAT scores. He didn't tell them about my busted knee, and I appreciated that. He focused on my assets, and I learned to do the same. One of those coaches that took notice was Coach Foster, the sprint coach and former Olympian at UNC Chapel Hill. Coach Gill gave so much of himself to me and my other teammates. Coach made me believe that I was better than I thought I could be, and then coached me to that level. And it wasn't easy. Nothing worth having ever is. There was a lot of hard work and dedication that went into recovering from knee surgery to winning state titles and relays just 7 months later. When it mattered most, winning state championships, he believed in each one of us in our preparation. Coach Gill never stopped believing in me, never stopped loving me, and never let me down, and consequently, I would never, ever let him down on that track. I love Coach Gill, and I miss him. Facing adversity is something that every single one of us goes through. How we respond to tough trials and storms builds character, strengthens our faith, and frames our intestinal fortitude, or that ability to withstand difficult situations and to persevere in the face of misfortune or difficulty. The reassurance within yourself and extended by those who love and care for you helps you believe that tough times don't last forever, but tough people do. Thank you, Andrews High coaches and my teammates, for building that spirit and finding that grit within myself, my values, and my purpose going forward. The day I signed my national letter of intent to run track at Carolina in the spring of my senior year was so special. I think Coach Gill was happier than me. Although the day I went on my recruiting trip, I believe my dad anticipated it more than me. So much so that he stayed a little bit too long so that on my recruiting trip so he could meet Coach Dean Smith in the basketball office. Coach Smith he was out recruiting, so he had to settle for Coach Guthridge and some players. Athletics paved the way for me academically to achieve my biggest aspiration, to earn a college degree from UNC Chapel Hill. That achievement altered my life's trajectory and subsequently my children's lives and their futures. Because of that experience, my life's work has been to help others achieve and transform their own families, opportunities through higher education. Athletics at Andrews also provided me with great life lessons about hard work, teamwork, and overcoming adversity. James 1:12 reads, quote, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood that test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him," end quote. And for those lessons, I'm truly thankful. Thank you, Andrews High School Hall of Fame, for this great honor of induction, one of the greatest honors of my life. More important, thank you for helping me shape my character while building inner strength and constitute a personal goal of working to become a much better person tomorrow than I was today. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Our next inductee is Jordan Reed. Jordan was a 2009 graduate and a 3-year starter and 2-time all-conference performer in basketball at Andrews. helping the Raiders to 61 wins during his 3-year varsity career. He was also a 3-year starter, 2-time all-conference quarterback for the football team. He threw for over 2,500 yards and 25 touchdowns and helped lead the team to 20 wins. He earned a football scholarship to North Carolina Central, where he was a 3-year starter and a 2-time team captain. He ranks 10th on North Carolina Central's career passing list with over 3,500 yards and 19 touchdowns, and holds the school record for completion percentage. Jordan was selected to the prestigious 22-member 2013 All-State American Football Coaches Association Good Works team after his senior year. This is the most coveted community service award in college football. He was also a semifinalist for the National Football Foundation's National Scholar Athlete Award. Jordan graduated from Central in 2013 with a degree in recreation administration, served as a graduate assistant football coach, and earned his master's in athletic administration in 2016. He then coached the running backs for 3 years. Jordan left coaching and now works in college football as an NFL analyst, draft analyst for ESPN. He lives in Mooresville with his wife Erica and 2 daughters who are here tonight, McKenna and Mackenzie. Please welcome Jordan Reed to the Andrews Athletics.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jordan Reed. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Got a hard act to follow up with everybody, but it's good to see everybody. Andrews is such a huge family and fraternity to me. Being an only child, it's a school and an institution that really welcomed me. I've seen people here tonight that I haven't seen in 15, 20 years. Coach Yoakum, somebody that was on the coaching staff. Tasha, I gotta put you on the spot. She was actually my counselor at Oakview Recreation Center when I was growing up. So it's good to see everybody here. Thank you, Mr. Goins. Thank you, Mr. Hunter, and everybody on the committee. It's just such an honor to be up here on the stage in front of you guys tonight. I have a very unique story. I was not a football kid growing up, actually. I was a basketball kid. Up until 9 years old, I'll never forget. I played for the High Point Lions. And with the Lions, if you're a Carolina Panthers fan right now, we probably did more losing than you guys right now. That's how bad we were. It basically was a lot of cardio and exercise when we were out there. But the great thing that I really found my blessing in my calling with the Lions. Just because what happened was, and I'll never forget it, Coach Terrell Easter, somebody that means a ton to me to this day. My dad was such an inspiration to me. We go to the park, I'm thinking we're going to shoot hoops, and little did I know it was football tryouts. And back then, if you remember, football was a very dangerous game. Back then, all I saw was Ray Lewis just tearing people's heads off, left and right. Little did I know football would be involved with me the rest of my life. With football, just such a huge inspiration to me. And with the Lions, I found such a calling. And after that, I got welcomed into Andrews after that. And Andrews really was my saving grace with my football career. And my brother back there, Tony, he's somebody that we actually came into Andrews together. And it's just such a blessing to actually go into the Hall of Fame here tonight together. But a couple of shout outs I want to give first and foremost, of course, is to my wife, Erica, who's been by my side, even though she did go to Thomasville. I didn't want to say that in this ceremony. My mom and my dad, who's such a huge inspiration to me, and then my daughters, my twin daughters, Mackenzie and McKenna. I'm sure y'all seen them be active here tonight. I often say I live with 6 women Even though it's only 3, they all count as 2, just depending on how they feel when they wake up that morning. But thank all 5 of y'all for being my support system. You just don't know how much you mean to me. And a quote that's always stuck with me with my dad, and every time I do public speaking or appearances anywhere, I share this quote just because it means so much to me. He said, whatever you put into it, that's what you're gonna get out of it. And that's something that stuck with me, and we're Hall of Famers, Dad. That day he took me to the park thinking we were going to shoot hoops. Little did I know it was football tryouts. It ended up working out for us. But I want to thank my coaches as well. Coach Jeffries at Welborn. I'm sure everybody in here knows who Coach Jeffries is. A staple of High Point football. Coach Anderson, who was my first head coach at Andrews. Coach Boykin, who introduced me to the weight room and helped me get addicted to the weight room. Even though I was that scared, scrawny kid walking in that first day that tried to hide behind everybody. Coach Snipes, who was my first quarterback coach. A funny story I have to tell about Coach Snipes just because it's hilarious. So he's the most competitive individual that I've ever met in my life. And Coach Snipes was originally from Graham, North Carolina. He didn't know anything about this area, but I've never seen somebody that was so excited to get their CDL license to drive a bus. So my sophomore year, our first game is at Smith. And back then, you had to print out directions. We didn't have Waze, we didn't have GPS. So as he's driving the bus, he's just checking it off as we're going. And those buses were green and white back then. I'm not sure what color they are now, the activity buses. Every time Coach Snipes would drive it, they would be all white. Just because that's how much he would crash. And he would say, what is the estimated time of the destination? Well, I can cut that in half. But he just made me so comfortable in every time that I played. So thank you, Coach Snipes. Coach Herman, who is another huge inspiration to me. Coach Herman is the only individual I know that could go and cut 3 practice fields during his planning period and still be back in time for his next period class. So thank you, Coach Herman. Coach Rodney McCoy, who's now the running backs coach at Winston-Salem State, another coach that was a huge inspiration to me. Coach James Abel, as well as Coach Scott Moore, who were both of my basketball coaches at Andrews. And then lastly, just want to finish up my speech with my brother, Tony Washington, who will be the last inductee tonight. Me and Tony have known each other since we were 5 years old. And we played on the lines together, so all that losing I just talked about, we did all that together. We played elementary school, middle school, and here we are standing with each other, going into the Hall of Fame today. Such a huge honor to really do this alongside with you, and I couldn't think of a better person to go alongside in the Hall of Fame with. All those trips, walking up to McDonald's, after football and basketball practice. Sometimes when we got a little extra money, we feel good about ourselves and go up to 5-point subs. So all those little life lessons and all those things that we went through together, just thank you. Thank you, Andrews High School. Thank you to my family. And thank you, everybody here tonight.
Congratulations, Jordan. Our next inductee is Thad Smith. Thad graduated from Andrews in 1981 and earned all conference honors in football, basketball, and track. In track, he threw the shot in discus, setting the school record at the time in the discus. In basketball, he was a 3-year starter, team most valuable player as a senior, and won the rebounding and free throw award while averaging almost 20 points per game. In football, he played nose guard as a sophomore and tight end as a junior and senior. Played in the North-South All-Star game and earned a football scholarship to East Carolina. Thad was voted by his class at Andrews as the senior superlative most likely to succeed. At East Carolina, Thad lettered for 2 years on special teams and was also a tight end. In 1984, he enlisted in the United States Navy. He was involved in numerous deployments, including Operations Desert Storm and Iraqi Freedom, and received many awards, including the Meritorious Service Medal. Thad earned his bachelor's degree in security management while in the Navy. He retired after 29 years of honorable service at the rank of lieutenant. He now works as a government civilian for the Department of the Navy Naval Service Warfare Center. He lives in Chesapeake, Virginia. His wife Yolanda is here tonight, and he has a daughter, Sahara, who is at North Carolina A&T and is majoring in animal science and pre-veterinarian. So let's welcome Thad Smith and Andrews.
Wow, this is quite an honor. Like was said earlier, there are very few people, if any, who can achieve such a great accomplishment and say that they truly did it by themselves. I am no exception. There are so many people that I have to thank for this honor this evening. Also like to congratulate all those who are in the class with me. You know, Andrews for me was more than just a school. Andrews was a culture. It was an environment. It was a place where teachers and coaches not only cared what you did academically or on the football field, on the courts, they cared about you as a person. It was not uncommon to hear a teacher say, "Good morning, how are you? How are things going? How can I help you? Let me know if there's anything that you need." That commitment to the students helped propel me to just be the best I can be in whatever I can do. So this committee, I would like to thank you for this selection to the Hall of Fame. I have so many people that I could thank on this evening. Coach Goins, he was my head football coach. Coach Gazaza was my tight end coach. Coach Burke coached me. There are some coaches, some of you may not know. The late George Fareed was my basketball coach. The late Henry Hicks was my basketball coach. The late Craig Gill was my linesman coach. And the late Hugh Gordon was also an inspiration to me at T. Wingate Andrews. I got my introduction at Andrews from my father. Many years ago when Andrews played at the old Adam Miller Stadium, my father would take me and my brother to the stadium. We would watch Andrews play through the fence. And I thought some of their players were superheroes. Johnny Evans used to punt the ball and it looked like it got lost in the stadium lights. And Herbert Cole used to run over everybody, and then I would see him running down the street because he lived in my neighborhood. I thought he was, you know, one minute he was Superman, the next minute he was Clark Kent. So that helped me to realize that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a good athlete. So my father is here with me this evening, 93 years young. He first taught us how to serve King Jesus. He taught us to love humanity. He taught us to work hard, and if we worked hard, we can accomplish anything that we wanted to. I also want to thank my brother. He's an inductee from 2022. He's here with us this evening. We're Irish twins, so we're 11 months apart. So he was my role model in school, so I tried to mimic everything that he did. He was great in sports as well as academics, so, you know, he's a doctor, so he graduated, you know, summa cum laude and all that through school. When I graduated high school and college, I had the same statement, thank you, Lord. Wonderful to get out of school. So, as you know, I was in the military for many years, 29 years in the service. I would be remiss if yesterday we commemorated 23 years of 9/11, when we lost 2,977 members of our family of this nation. So we know freedom is not free, and it requires dedication. And during the time of my military career, I deployed on many different occasions, away from home. My wife, Yolanda, is with me, not knowing where I was going, not knowing when I was coming home or how well I was doing. So while I was standing to watch abroad, my wife was standing to watch at home. She's the real Hall of Famer. So, since I'm the older statesman, I'm not going to be too long. So, in closing, I just want to thank the committee and all those who assembled. I see all those who've come before me and those who've come after me, and it helps me to say that I contribute just a little bit to the fiber that makes up the legacy of T. Wingate Andrews and being a Red Raider. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thad. And our last inductee for the evening, but certainly not the least, Tony Washington. Tony was an outstanding student athlete, graduating in 2009. He played varsity basketball all 4 years and was all conference each year. He scored over 1,000 points in his career and was team most valuable player. He led the teams to an 85-29 record in the state playoffs all 4 years. He was an outstanding football player, making all conference and being the team most valuable player as a junior and earning those same awards as a senior, as he scored 16 touchdowns and played in the Shrine Bowl. He graduated with a 4.6 grade point average and earned a football scholarship to Appalachian State. Tony made all Southern Conference at Appalachian State as both a junior and senior, was the team most valuable player as a senior, and played in the Senior Bowl. He still ranks in the top 10 in many Appalachian State receiving and kick return categories. Tony graduated from Appalachian State in 2013 with a 3.83 grade point average and a degree in architecture and design technology. He was named Academic All-Conference, All-Region, and was one of the 16 national finalists for the National Football Foundation's William V. Campbell Trophy, awarded annually to the nation's best football scholar athlete. Signed by the Indianapolis Colts, Tony spent most of his professional career with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He then entered college coaching, serving as an assistant coach at Coastal Carolina and West Virginia, before moving on to Liberty University, where he currently serves as passing game coordinator and wide receiver coach. Please welcome Tony Washington to the Andrews Athletic Hall of Fame.
First of all, I'm glad to be here. The best part about being last name Washington is there's nobody left to thank when it's your turn. But honestly, I want to thank Mr. Goins. I want to thank the committee because for like the past 15, 20 years, my wife makes it known that her pictures in the gym at Andrews, no matter how many games I won, my picture's still not there. So hopefully being in the Hall of Fame makes us even. You know, much like everybody else, I can think of million people, but my story starts at Wilburn and starts even before then. I remember going to my first Andrews basketball game in 4th or 5th grade. My dad took me. I just remember falling in love with the place. Like, I knew that I didn't want nothing more than to be a Red Raider my entire life from the first time I ever went to a game. If you've ever been to an Andrews football game, you've seen the little kids playing on the hill of A.J. Simeon. That was me. Like, I wanted nothing else. And so I'll never forget 7th grade, they changed the districts in High Point, and I was supposed to go to Central. And I was devastated. Like, I was like, man, I can't do it. I'm gonna drop out, like it's over, like I'm done. But luckily, 2005, my freshman year in high school, they started choice plans, so you could choose where you wanted to go. So I was able to go to Andrews, and man, I couldn't have been more thrilled. During my time, Coach Gazazza was the AD when I first got there. And I'll never forget, I was playing JV football my first semester, and Coach Gazazza sees me kick versus the varsity. The next day he comes in and gives me a tee. He's like, man, if you want to make it to the NFL, you can kick, like, get this tee, start practicing, make it to the league. Coach Gazazza, sorry, I made it without the tee. But no, I can thank a million people. I want to thank Coach Jeffries at Wilburn for even getting me really into football. Kind of like what Jordan said, I was a basketball kid. I didn't play football in 6th grade at all because I wanted to focus on basketball. I was 4 years of basketball in high school, that's all I wanted to do. But Coach Jeffries really made me love football, man, in middle school. A lot of people don't know this, I don't even know if my parents know this, but like the first 2 to 3 days of summer workouts, I didn't go. I was like, man, I'm focusing on basketball. I'm not even gonna play football this year or whatever. And if it wasn't for Jordan and a couple other of my friends, I probably wouldn't even play, but I would go home after school, everybody's at practice, so I was like, well, I'll go. And so ended up starting as a 7th grader, having a great career there, moved on to Andrews. The head coach that was there was Coach Anderson and then Coach Boykins. I want to thank Coach Herman and Coach Yoakum that's here tonight. I'll never forget being a sophomore playing varsity and I was being so afraid because I was so small, man. And they moved me to wide receiver because we had Jap playing running back, and I was so happy, man. Like, I was like, thank the Lord, they moved the receiver. I don't gotta get hit by these big guys anymore. And I stayed there, man. Like, I never went back. You know, I fell in love with the position. Coach Yoakum taught me how to run a route. I still remember beat the drums, beat your feet, come out the break, and so it was great. I want to thank Coach Snipes. Had him in class. He was offensive coordinator at the time. He was a great coach. Going into my junior year, that staff kind of left. And Coach McCoy, Coach Cook, Coach Sweeney, all those guys in that staff, they helped really mold me as a player I am today. They changed the offense, more spread, more passing. Me and Jordan couldn't have been happier. Connection was crazy after that. And so we went on to have a great career. You know, going to Andrews, man, like, you had no choice but to make it. I don't know if other people in this room felt that way, but I just felt like I had to make it. Like, coming up, I was always behind Marcus Gilchrist. Like, that was the name I always had to follow behind. I was 2 years behind. We played the same positions. And to watch him do what he did, it just paved the way for me. And I'm like, man, like, I'm watching what he does. I'm gonna do everything that he does. Watching Killenbrand, watching Chris Collins. You know, being fortunate enough to go to Appalachian State. I got Ashley McKeever there. I got Kel there. I got Nicole Sloan there. So, like, when I get there, I'm still cool because I know the seniors, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, it really was a blessing, man, and it prepared me for life, not only in sports, but afterwards. I love Red Raider Nation. I love this school. Till this day, like, there's no pride like being a Red Raider. You know, high school is the last real level where you play for the school, right? Like, it's not about the name on the back of the jersey, it's all about the name on the front. You know, I can still remember every Andrews Central game I ever played in. I can still remember the nervousness of walking out there at A.J. Simeon or walking out there on the court. And, you know, there's nothing like it, man. I played in college, I played in the NFL, I've coached at a lot of different levels. There's something special about wearing TWA Andrews across your shirt, being a Red Raider, and recognizing that with pride. And so, just to keep it short and simple, man, I appreciate everybody for coming. I appreciate every one of you guys that's had a hand in not only my success, but the success of everybody in this room. And you don't know how much you guys have impacted us as players, as a community, as everybody involved. So just thank you.
stories we've heard tonight down memory lane. It was wonderful.